We're going live. Okay.
We're going live?
Yes, right now.
Is my speakers work? Phil is very dependable and very reliable.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Yes, we need our candidates to be heard. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yu-Ching Chow. I am president of Asian Wave Alliance. Asian Wave Alliance is a nonpartisan citywide political club focused on educating and strengthening political engagement of the Asian community in New York. Since February of 2022, we've endorsed candidates in local, state offices across all political parties that align best with our community's values and priorities. We were instrumental in the fight to create the new Asian Majority District in last year's redistricting process in Brooklyn. We take on legislative issues that matter to our community, including issuing statements, doing petitions, rallies, and building alliances with other groups with shared goals. Today, we focus on 3 city council districts with a high number of Asian constituents in Northeast Queens. District 19, 37%, District 20, 72%, and District 23 with 44%. We invited all candidates in these districts' races, including incumbent council members Sandra Ng and Linda Lee, and challengers Tony Avella and Danny Chen. Mr. Avella, while appearing on our flyer, had accepted our invitation in September, had requested accommodations just this week, which we granted. But his campaign manager called me yesterday afternoon to tell me that he will not be coming. So let's pivot. We are pleased to have District 19 Councilwoman Vickie Paladino and District 20 candidate James Yu-Ching with us today, and Bernard Chow will be joining us from his day of action as soon as he can make it. So let's get started with the format. We will ask all candidates to give a 1-minute introduction. Then AWA leaders will ask questions of all candidates. You'll have 1 minute to respond, and we'll vary the order of the sequence of responses. These questions have not been shared with any candidates before today. Then each candidate will give a 1-minute closing, and that's really the format. So I want to get started. I want to turn this over to Amy C., who is the treasurer of AWA and a member of Community Board 8 in Queens. Amy.
1 second, yeah. The timer is over here, so once it beeps, I will signal you to stop. So sure. That, and also the microphone, you see a green light, that means it's already on. So don't press it again. You're going to turn it off. You press it, okay? Okay. So, hi, thank you. We can start. We can start.
Hi, Vickie. Yes. Let's start with you. 2 weeks ago, torrential rain caused severe flooding all over New York City, and many parts of Queens suffered greatly, especially areas near shorelines. Replacing furniture, electrical panels, water heaters, washer and dryers after every flood is costly for homeowners. What do you see are the causes here? What will you do if elected to address this flooding problem?
Well, first, let me say I have already been elected. I am your city councilwoman. And
actually, we didn't do the 1-minute opening.
Oh, sorry. All right.
My bad. That's so bad.
That's okay.
Right.
You want me to take the question?
Yes, go ahead.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. We'll do
what we've done in my office, and I'm extremely proud of it, and we've been covered all over the city because of the actions that my office did take. When we got our first flood, a major flood through Hurricane Ida in 21, and then we got hit again 1 year later and a week, we went out and made it our point to make sure basic infrastructure needs were met. While other parts of the city have neglected infrastructure, we have not. We have worked conjunctively with DEP, and we have made sure that District 19 catch basins have been cleaned, camera inspections have been done, and it's a constant battle to make sure that we stay on top of DEP. And since we've done this, I'm proud to say that there has been very little flooding if flooding at all. Now, with the last rains that we've been getting, there's been a bit of seepage, but DEP on the phone, first ring. So I'm very proud of what my office has accomplished. Thank you.
Do we want to do the intro?
Well, let
Oh,
James
let-
answer and then maybe we can.
Okay, James.
Sure. So, my name is James Fry. Extremely fortunate, sitting right next to our current councilwoman. And then the answer she's going to be giving, I'm sure, is very tough to top. You know? So, yes, in District 20, obviously, when there is rain, storm, in the future, I feel that if there's new development or rezoning, we really have to figure out the infrastructure of the sewer system. So if I get elected as a city councilman, definitely any plan that's in place, we're definitely gonna not just benefiting the developers, you know, profiting the developer, but we really have the long-term plan of does our infrastructure gonna support, you know, the sewer, the electric, the grid, and everything. So thank you.
Thank you. Let's go with
Oh,
the intro.
You want to go with the intro?
Yeah, let's do the intro and
Yes.
we'll continue with questions.
Same 1 minute, right? Same? Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. As your elected official for District 19, to say I've done and accomplished, my office has accomplished so much is an understatement. Let me first start with our local schools, School District 25, 26. I have met personally and know on a first name basis both of our sitting superintendents. Danielle DeMango, who is now went to City Hall, is now been replaced by Dr. Mike, and that's fine. We also do things where I've met every single principal in every single one of my schools. I call your kids my kids, because that's how I treat it. I brought funding to our district in the amount of $8 million. That does not include me supporting my PTAs with over $21 million, because I believe parents need and must be involved, especially today, in our schools. Also, CASA programs. So $8 million, $20 million, $20,000, and so on and so forth. Go ahead. My $1 million. I'm not using 1 minute.
Okay, go ahead. James.
We'll have more questions.
Good.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for Asian Wave Alliance to set this up. I know it's always very difficult to set something up like this. To those people that don't know me, my name is James Pai. I came to this country 40 plus years ago from Taiwan. Just like any other first generation immigrant, my parents worked hard in a restaurant trying to make ends meet. Now, I'm the first member in my family who went to college. You know, so with hard work, and I got my CPA, and I've been practicing my own business for 20 years. And it's pretty sad to see what's going on in the Flushing. Flushing is a big hub. You know, people are getting robbed, stabbed, and beaten in broad daylight. And now, when the small business owner reported, it takes the cops 45 minutes to show up. They give up, you know, and a lot of things they, you know, are taking matters in their own hand. So if I get elected as city council, I'm gonna definitely support the police, fund the police.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good job, James.
Let's continue, and you be the first to answer this time, James. The second question. Based on the latest CompStat report from the 109th precinct, felony assaults are up 38%, and car theft up 105% to date. Compared to 2 years ago, crime complaints, which include robbery, burglary, grand larceny, and car theft, are up 100% overall. What has worked to stem this flow, and what still needs to be addressed in our city and in your district?
Exactly what I just ended with. Flushing is the biggest hub. As we have seen, you know, people are getting, you know, robbed, stabbed, and beaten, and cars getting jacked up. Obviously, with all these pro-criminal laws that's going on within the city, you know, you got these petty criminals that don't care about what the small business needs, and the neighborhood, it's sort of getting all, getting, the costs are getting jacked, right? So we need to go back to fund the police and really give them back qualified immunity. You take away the qualified immunity, you're putting handcuffs on the police officer. If I was a police, why would I risk myself now, personally liable, and do my job? So if I get elected to city council, and I'll definitely, whoever supported the, ending the qualified immunity, they should get not reelected into office in the future. Thanks.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
I have to agree with James. Well done. And I want to say that Sandra Ung not being here today is a shame, because you really... Okay, now let me go on. Can I get a little bit more?
Sure. Let's.
First off, let me say I work very closely with the 109 first name basis. Police answer my calls immediately.
Okay.
I have worked with the small businesses, especially some of those that are in Bayside and College Point, who have been hardest hit. And in particular, I worked very closely with Amy's Chinese Takeout. They were hit with a tremendous amount of crime, robberies, kids coming off of school buses. It's a hub. And what we do there is we make sure there's police cars waiting in and out for when these kids get off the bus and when they go into school. But I am the only city council member to bring 50 additional cops to the 109th precinct. I secured them from Thursday till Sunday. I realize it's not enough, and they know it's not enough. But the simple crux of the problem is this. Nobody wants to be a police officer today. We have a shortage of cops. We went through having graduating classes of once was 2,800 to 3,000. And since they have dropped, we now have graduating classes of 300 to 600. That's it. We got to get people back into the police force, and we have to handcuff our cops, as James has said. I'm trying to squeeze it all in a minute. It's very hard.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Vickie. Third question. We'll start with Vickie. There has been a proliferation of e-bikes, e-scooters, and mopeds, and we are seeing a spike in serious accidents involving pedestrians with these vehicles. Even though bike lanes have been expanded in the city, there have been 13 fatalities so far this year, up from 9 last year, all of last year. Often because these riders are not abiding by traffic rules. Councilmember Holden has a bill to register e-bikes and mopeds. Would you sign on? Why or why not? And what more should be done to keep our streets safe?
Well, I'm already signed on. That's something we've been talking about since I took office, was the way these e-bikes have literally taken over our streets. So yes, of course I'm on that. I also believe that through licensing, registration, and insurance doesn't make the driver of an automobile responsible should they hit somebody on one of these e-scooters or e-bikes, because this is now, they must have insurance. The fact that, what do we do to make this safer? We need to get those that are on the street that are not registered and insured off the streets. People need to be held accountable. These bike lanes, me, personally, we have enough bike lanes. We don't need any more bike lanes. And what was the second part of your question?
What more should be done to keep our streets safe?
What more should be done? These scooters, in my opinion, need to be at a very limited amount. There's way too many. They don't obey the traffic laws. They bob in and out. It's gotten out of hand, totally out of hand.
Thank you, Vickie.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. In the Flushing area, there's many delivery workers, and it's pretty dangerous. They definitely need to be registered, and I personally think the business owners should make sure these e-bike riders or delivery guys are insured and registered. And if they're not, I personally think that they're just going to continue to be reckless. And I seen e-bikes are going the opposite side of the traffic. That's even worse. And they're on the sidewalk too, so definitely we're gonna hold them accountable, and even with the business owner that's using these delivery guys accountable too.
Thank you, James. Question number 4, and we'll start with James. Mayor Adams has unveiled his housing plan, which includes a significant change in urban development policy. He has eliminated the mandate for constructing parking facilities and aims to legalize accessory dwelling units, ADUs, encompassing basement apartments within the framework. Notably, his plan does not seem to include provisions for addressing the critical infrastructure needs associated with increased population density. Sorry, just such as additional schools, hospitals, and improved transportation systems. The Asian community has the highest rate of home ownership, and many have different views on this proposal. Are you in favor of the mayor's plan, or do you have reservations about it? If so, what are your specific reasons for supporting or opposing it?
Yeah, I've definitely had reservation about. Obviously, if we have these developments coming in, it's going to change the quality of life of the neighborhood. Now, what I don't understand is why every time when there's new development, why in the Queens area, especially where I am at, why can't they do something like they do in Manhattan? It's an 80-20 split. 20% will go to affordable housing. Now, affordable housing could be including, for low income, single parents, and people have mental illness and things like, and our veterans, by setting up what mayor's plan is, that definitely is going to change the quality of life with what's going on in the neighborhood, and it's not going to definitely support the school facility. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Vickie.
I'm basically opposed to the mayor's plan. I feel at this point in time, our infrastructure, as you brought up much earlier, cannot handle this. The overpopulation and the overbuilding in this community is what's killing this community. I work very, very closely. I actually hosted several small landlord town halls for the Asian community, and they're not getting paid their rent. There are other things. We've had people evicted. We have worked tirelessly to see to it that exactly what he is proposing really comes to a halt and a standstill. This is overreach. What's going to happen from this point going forward is I, as a sitting city council member, am going to lose my ability to say anything about zoning. What you're missing in that one little piece, and it's always the fine print, which one must read, is that I, as a city councilwoman, are your firewall to zoning. And if we give full power to the mayor and to the city of New York to do what they want, we will come out on the losing side of it. I can promise you that.
Thank you, Vickie. Thank you. Question 5, and we'll start with Vickie.
Okay.
Constituents in Northeast Queens are very concerned about the financial toll of implementing Local Law 97, which requires co-ops and condo buildings to make significant capital investments to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. This includes replacing gas stoves with electrical ones. What will you do on the City Council, or currently on the City Council, to address the impact of this law?
That was me? Yes. Okay. I've been on the head of the curveball. I've been on the head of this from 2020. It was passed in 2019. The law is going into effect as of January. When the clock strikes midnight, January 1, 2024, Local Law 97 does indeed go into effect. I have hosted over 4 town halls, one of which included over 400 people in the Bayside area. I am hosting another one on October the 26th in Bay Terrace. People must be aware of, it's not just about gas stoves, it's about heat, it's about electrofitting, it's about everything. This is simple. $213 million worth of fines is going to hit Northeast Queens alone. By the year 2030, you are going to be looking at $982 million in fines if you do not meet the code. I, as a city councilwoman, have introduced my bill, which is 913, to give a rolling 7-year delay so that people could catch up and try to hold true to what's already been passed.
Thank you, Vickie. Yu-Ching.
Okay. The residents in Flushing have expressed, dislike about local law 97, and especially the money that they're going to be spending on upgrading the system. Plus, I hear these exemptions from these NYCHA buildings. Now, these residents are expressing to me who's benefiting from all this. So we need to thank Vickie for pushing our plans to roll things, delay things a little bit. But definitely, this is something we have to think about, and we have to think about, is our electrical grid able to handle so much conversion? Thank you.
Thank you, James. Question number 6, and we'll start with James. Migrants are still coming in. 4,000 migrants arrive in New York City every week, and over 120,000 are in our system already. Resources for residents, like the Catholic School in College Point, and the entire parking lot of the Psychiatric Hospital at Creedmoor, have been appropriated to house migrants. Some people have called for more federal funding and speedier work authorization approvals and messaging to migrants that there is no more space in New York, while others are calling upon the president to close the border. It seems the more tents the city builds, the more they will come. Which solutions do you support as a council member? What would you do to return appropriated resources back to your constituents?
Okay. First, I'm an immigrant myself now, but I entered this country legally. So first of all, we have to close the borders. We don't have that kind of funding for these immigrants coming in illegally. But the policies in place, it's really encouraging for somebody to cross the border and take New York City. You got these undocumented illegal immigrants coming in, and they have the right to shelter. And next thing we're talking about, they have the right to work here. The policy is really screwed up. I have employees trying to get their H-1B visas, and they're having difficulty. And they work here with their bachelor degree, master degree, legally. And we're not keeping talent. And we're spending money on all these illegal immigrants crossing the border. I don't understand. If I get a chance to city, as a city council, definitely I'm going to oppose anything that's related to these undocumented illegal immigrants.
Okay. This one? Okay. Bernard, welcome to the forum.
Hello.
Okay.
It's already on. Don't press that, okay?
We're going to do this question number 7 for you. Just to...
Six hasn't answered. 6 migrants.
This is about the migrants. Migrants are still coming in. 4,000 arrive in New York City every week, and over 120,000 are in our system already. Resources for residents like the Catholic School in College Point and the entire parking lot of the Psychiatric Hospital at Creedmoor have been appropriated to house the migrants. Some have called for more federal funding, speedier work authorization approvals, and messaging to migrants that there is no more space in New York, while others are calling upon the president to close the border. It seems the more tents we build, the more they come. Which solutions do you support? As a council member, what would you do to return appropriated resources back to the constituents?
Well, there is a very good example about dealing with migrant tents. Actually, there's two very good examples about how to deal with migrant tents. One is sitting right next to me. Vickie Paladino, she's able to change her 300 single adult man migrant tent into a 300 family member migrant tent. That is very much, it took much less toll on the community right away. Single adult man, the mentality of that, and then family members too much, very much different. And the other one is Joanne Ariola. She's able to cancel out her migrant tent completely. So when some city council member come out and say that, oh, it's out of my jurisdiction, that is not the case. No matter how much out of your jurisdiction, as long as you're willing to do it, you can do something about it. And I will be one of them who will be learning from the Common Sense Caucus. I want to be part of the Common Sense Caucus too, and dealing with these migrant tent issues. Closing the border is a federal level, but it's 100% what I agree on. It's just that we spend too much money on non-American compared to American first.
Thank you, Brianna. And let's continue to question 7, okay?
No, she can go.
Vickie didn't get
Oh, Nancy didn't go.
I said it was safe for you already. I already saved for you.
Well, I am very, very happy to say that St. Agnes is now officially closed. I am the only sitting city council member to have a 300 to 500 male-female respite center. Big difference between a respite center and a shelter. Closed officially as of 11 p.m. last night.
Ahead of schedule.
Well, it wasn't actually, when you work with the city, we all know it's floating. They can tell you a 90-day contract. Let me tell you this. If it wasn't for the work that my office and myself put in, we visited every single day. We were on the phone with the Commissioner of Operations and Emergency Management, constantly on the phone with the mayor's office. When College Point reached out to me, and they have my private cell phone number, with pictures and with text messages, those pictures, those text messages went to my guy at City Hall. I am incredibly proud of my relationship with City Hall, the cooperation I've gotten from City Hall, and now the respite center is closed. College Point's got its town back, everybody.
Vickie. Thank you very much. We'll continue on to question 7, and this time we'll start with Bernard. Mayor Adams has filed a lawsuit to roll back New York City's sanctuary status and limit right to shelter. Do you agree with him? Why or why not?
Thank you for the questions. Thank you, AWA, everyone. First of all, that law, that Sanctuary City, if you look further into the text of it, is the right to shelter for New York citizens. They never say it's the right to shelter non-United States individuals. So how was the technicality on this lawsuit? We got some lawyers and judges around here. I bet they have better answer for me than me. But I agree on the direction of that they're trying to go to. That yes, we need to take back the control. We need to take back the control of our finance and of how to use our resources back to New York City for New York people. That is very important. Thank you.
Thank you. How about James? What do you think?
Yeah. See, that's the thing where, these mixed messages, they are getting from outside of the United States. The right to shelter, or either the mayor agrees or disagrees. The message is very unclear. And we have to send a clear message out to these, illegal immigrants. We don't have the resources anymore. We don't have the capacities anymore. And, this needs to stop. So if I get elected to the city council, I'll definitely send a clear message that my community, New York City, we don't have any resource or capability or housing for you anymore.
Thank you, James. Vickie, please.
Well, in that case, the mayor had his heart in the right place. But he blows with the wind, unfortunately, when it comes to a lot of super important issues such as this. And he knows to our detriment, and our city is facing bankruptcy. You said there's 120,000, there's up more like 150,000. At the cost right now of $5 billion. So far, we've spent $5 billion. The only way we're going to get ourselves out of this mess is to close the border, but we all know that's not going to happen while Biden is our president. Simply not. So we need to, as a state and as a city, we need to declare a state of emergency, whereas the mayor and the governor of this state must put their foot down and turn the buses away. We must, even though they will be challenged in court, take the challenge in court, because we can no longer afford to do what we're doing. And I fought this right from the beginning also.
Thank you, Vickie. And I'm going to turn the mic back to Yatin for the rest of the questions.
We're about midpoint, just to give you an idea of how many more questions are coming. I'm going to pivot to quality of life issues in our districts here in Queens. For most parts of Queens, cars are the only option to get around, at least efficiently and timely. Just this week, we saw a petition by concerned citizens in Fresh Meadows. This is 53rd Avenue, Bell Boulevard, 188th Street, so it's really Bernard's district, but I think the question is relevant to all in Queens. That new bike lanes would remove street parking. We are in a transit challenge area of New York City, and cars are needed to get around. Are you aware of these plans that's coming to your district? Do you agree that certain bike lanes in your district should be removed? If not, what will you do? I'm going to start with James and then Vickie and Bernard.
So, with all these increasing bike lanes, if you do the math, right, if it takes, let's talk about public transportation. A family of 4 takes a bus into downtown Flushing. It's going to cost them $11 one way, right? And going back home with $22. It would be so easy for them to drive into downtown Flushing, and they're going to buy more groceries, going to spend more money, right? Now, by expanding all these bike lanes, I'm not quite sure if everybody's going to ride their bike in and then do grocery shopping, and then what they're going to do, carry all their grocery bags on the bike. So we really need to do a real assessment of what the community, the visitors, and people who really, shopping within the neighborhood, and to do what the community needs. Whatever's happening right now, even downtown Flushing, the traffic pattern is terrible.
They butchered downtown Flushing, by the way. And it's a mess, an absolute mess. I am absolutely, totally, 100%. Everybody understand this. You are living in a city that is run by a commissioner of DOT who has no background whatsoever in what it's like to operate a city of this size. They hate cars. Understand that. This is a place we are raising our kids, and we are in an area now where they want you to do away with your car. They do not want you to own a car. They are making it as difficult as possible for you to give it up. Congestion pricing is coming down the pike. It's in Manhattan right now. It's coming to our cities. What would I do with bike lanes? Bike lanes should be left up to the individual council member. Every council district is different. This is not a one-size-fits-all issue. So what works here does not work elsewhere. I am totally and absolutely against what they've done thus far and what they have planned for you in the future. The map's already done, everybody. It's done.
Bernard?
Well,
this is in your district, happening already.
Yeah, my district is District 23.
Yes.
And there's there's another name for District 23. It's called Transit Desert. That means it's a place that no subway, transit desert. That means there's a place there's no subway, and then the bus is the schedule of the bus is somewhat limited. And you think that you can use bike to replace? If you don't let people drive and there's no bus, then it's not really realistic to have everyone to get onto the bicycle. And second thing is that with one petition, it also brings in another petition, is that when they play in the bike lane right now, they actually are affecting where the truck is parking to rest. The 40-foot truck trailer, the trailer driver need a place to rest, and there was 2 areas in my district they were almost dedicated to park there to rest overnight. And because of this change of use of the lane, they actually make them move, and the trailer have to stop at some residential area, and the residents actually complaining and come with another petition. So it's one petition, another petition.
Great. Okay, speaking of congestion pricing, that's the next question. Congestion pricing, which is moving forward, will adversely affect outer boroughs like Queens, including likely more congestion in downtown Flushing and surrounding business areas. What would you do to advocate for the needs of constituents in regards to congestion pricing, where it seems like it's going to worsen air quality for Queens residents and increase the coffers of our poorly managed MTA? So I'm going to start with Vickie first, then Bernard, then James. Vickie, please.
What a lot of people don't know about congestion pricing is that it really isn't coming from the city. It's coming from the state. So what do I have to do with that? I will fight as we have fought, and I have fought every single battle. I will fight this. This is more about, I'm not concerned about air quality as much as I am concerned about the expense that is going to be put on the backs of the middle class, the hard-working people that get into their car. Now imagine, in our district, 19, you're going down Northern Boulevard, right? You want to pass over to go into the Great Neck area, the Long Island area. That's going to cost you as much as $22. This is all about your pocketbooks. This is all about keeping you out of your cars. Once again, we circle back to the same thing. Don't use your car, it's too expensive. As far as green emissions go, I'm not concerned about emissions. I'm concerned about your pocketbook.
Bernard.
Okay, congestion pricing. So I'm in the rally for against congestion pricing myself. We can look further into it. The whole reason about it is not regarding green, regarding protecting the environment. It's regarding that we are overspending. We are overspending at the wrong places. So in order to get us to pay more, maybe the government should consider better how to spend their money. Better budgeting, maybe even audit. That's all necessary. So congestion pricing is a tax. Is a form of a tax that is on the regular people, and the people who are going to get hurt the most is end up the lower or middle class individuals, which actually have to drive. And that $23 will make a difference to our pocket. And this is the people got hurt the most. Same as the immigrants policy. They are taking away all the welfare, all the benefit from the lower income individual, which were needing them the most, and give it to someone who don't even belong to the United States, who's not even American, have not contributed 1 minute of their time to our economy yet. So it's very important. My point for my platform is a balanced. Sorry about that.
James?
Yeah, so, yes, as mentioned, people are going to be parking, in Queens area, Brooklyn area, Bronx area to get into Manhattan. Now, people in half of the Manhattan area, even though with the congestion pricing increasing, you're going to see, costs, raise. The food is going to cost a little bit more. The place you're going to go is going to cost a little bit more. It's going to all factor in. So we're discouraging people going into Manhattan. And think about all these like doctor's office, like parents have seen have their doctor's appointment in the downtown area for many years. Now the transportation going in would cost them more too. So, like I said, whoever supported this bill, we should get rid of these assemblymen, state senator, vote them out of office.
Okay. Thank you. Bernard, we're going to start with you on this question. Unlicensed weed shops are all over the city. Many have candy samples to give out and spinning wheels for prizes and freebies. Clearly, they are targeting our children. What would you do to protect children from getting hooked on these freebies and become regular customers of these shops that have proliferated all over our city in the last 2 years? Bernard?
Okay. I actually need to ask a clarification. What do you mean by weed shop? What specific products are you referring to?
Marijuana.
Okay. From what I know, there's only like a handful of licenses for selling marijuana in New York City legally. Okay, but that is like whole street, practically every other block. In my district, there's a shop, a weed shop, right next to the city council office, on the same block. So I wonder how important it is to her right now. So it's illegal, means illegal, and if anyone here, I'm talking in Asian Wave Alliance, so I hope most of the people here have a little bit of understanding about Asian history, specifically to China. At the end of the Qing dynasty, the whole dynasty go down because of addiction, because of drug, because of opioid, which is exactly what's happening in the United States right now. Okay, so you let my grandparents go through this pain about losing their country, losing their economy, and now you make me to go through this again, and I will 100% say no, because drugs is not promoting anything.
James?
Yeah, there's a couple of things we can definitely do to overcome these shops that's illegal. Number one is we should put pressure on the Department of Consumer Affairs to have more undercover stings, right? Just like when they do with cigarettes and alcohols. Second, we should put landlords to give landlords some pressure if they are aware of these illegal activity that's going on. So there's many options that we can do and implement, and we got to give them stiff fines, and especially the owner or the president of that illegal weed shop should not be opening any other shops in the future if that's the case.
Vickie?
They legalized marijuana when I first came into office. That was one of the very first things they did. The reason why they did that, because they viewed it as an economic recovery for the city. This is how lopsided these things are. Smoke shops, convenience stores, they never open under the guise of it. They never say smoke shops. They're licensed as convenience stores. What they're selling is illegal. What have we done to combat that? Well, just recently in our council, we passed a law to penalize the landlords of these weed shops. So it will come first as a raid, which, by the way, I've raided weed shops. I've gone on with the sheriff. We also work very closely together with our police officers and with the Vice Squad, Queens North. We are on top of smoke shops. I give the sheriff a list. Every once in a while, he gets another list from me, and they raid the shops. There's one legal one going to open, by the way, just want everybody to know, in Bayside. And you want to know what the qualifications are to open up a weed shop? You must be a convicted felon in order to open up a weed shop. What is your felony offense? Right. Your felony offense is drug dealing. Okay. There you go.
All right, we're moving to education questions. James, I'm going to start with you for this question. Class size mandate stipulates that New York City classrooms must have no more than 20 students in kindergarten and 25 in high school. In Northeast Queens, schools are overcrowded and typically clustered close together. So if enrollment is reduced at these schools, there is nowhere else nearby to send students, which could result in a chaotic and divisive rezoning of entire school districts, where busing might have to be introduced. What will you do as council member to address this?
Right. If we start, limiting, downsizing the classes, we are actually going to start pushing these students to travel far away for their education, which doesn't make sense. Now, that's exactly what previously I have mentioned. We have so much money that we can allocate to these migrants that are coming into New York City. Once we, able to stop these migrants that's coming in, we would have additional funding to build new schools, right? And new playgrounds, and new educational sort of platform for smaller size classrooms. So if I get elected kind of a city council member, this is what I will be pushing. Thank you.
Vickie?
I'm totally against it. Let me start with that. On the surface, we all say smaller classrooms. That immediately makes you think, well, that's a really good idea. Well, the fact of the matter is, once they start to cut the classroom size, which, by the way, was introduced by John Liu at the state Senate level and passed, what we're going to have is this. They limit the class size to 21 kids, but the class consists of 28 or 31 or 32. What's going to happen to the overflow of those children when the school cannot handle what's going on right now? We also have a problem with funding. I speak to my school principals. They have a shortage of school teachers. This is an ideology that cannot and should not be allowed to happen. We are pushing out our we are homogenizing. I'm trying to get this all in 1 minute. It's very difficult. We are homogenizing everything. We need to bring back our tracks, whereas people are on the inside track, the outside track. I can't go on anymore.
No more questions.
That thing is driving me nuts. I'm sorry. Okay.
Bernard.
That's around, I believe it's 3 weeks ago, there is a roundtable regarding class size. And it happens to be in the middle of in 50th Street, Manhattan, which I don't think their schools have class size problem. Another thing is that when the class size is applied, one type or one category of classes that is heavily affected is our current specialized high schools. Their classes all of their classes is oversized. And then all compared to 23, 25 or 28, is maybe double or triple oversized. But it happens to be the most productive classes in the whole New York City. So class size is important. Giving them more attention is very important. But at the same time, is how you run their class is very important too. Other than that, and that's another issue. So I just want to point out the importance of this one issue can happen is that around a year ago, there is a restaurant lady naming Amy Restaurant. She got robbed by students every day, just because that student need to travel 1 mile from one end of the district to 1 mile to the other end of the district to go to school.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thumbs up. Start with Vickie for this question, and she's a sitting council member of the Common Sense Caucus. The Common Sense Caucus council members recently sponsored a bill to study the feasibility of giving families $10,000 reimbursement for non-public schools. I believe you signed on. Why did you sign on? And for the other challengers, would you sign on to this bill? Why or why not?
I did sign on. I think our private schools, I believe in school choice, I'm a firm believer in school choice. And I think our parochial schools and our private schools are suffering terribly. There is people want out of our public school system. They want to be able to go to private schools. They can't afford it. And by private schools, I'm not talking about these hoity-toity, white-collar schools. I'm talking about our Catholic schools, our private schools. They are up to $7,000 and $10,000 per child, elementary. High school, they are up as high as $12,000 to $15,000 to $18,000. That's for high school. So do I believe in it? Most absolutely. I believe a parent should have a choice, and I believe a parent should get the financial assistance that they require in order to put their kids in the school of their choice. Yes.
Great, thank you. Bernard?
I believe that when you take your kids out of the public school systems, some resources have to go along with that kids to wherever schools or whatever schools they need to go to. It could be because of religious reason. It could be there's a specific class that they want to study, or just simply because they want a different way their kids being treated. Especially right now that our school is teaching sex, and then it's not male and female sex, in their grade school, and that is very interesting. So I would like to ask all the parents to look further into this, and I will sign on to the same bill. And it's just simply we need a diversity. We need the parents need a choice. The parents have the right to know. So and then our public school system is trying to restrict that. They're trying to get the teacher to make all the decisions for the children without the parents' awareness. That is something that I'm not so agree on. Thank you.
Yeah, it was well said, so I couldn't add anything more to it, but this sounds like more like a school voucher, and absolutely, this is something I do support. Parents should have a choice of where their kids want to be educated, and if they can afford it and they're willing to pull their kids out of public school system, sure, I will 100% support this. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to start with Bernard for this question. Many parents who have a child enrolled in GNT, Gift and Talented Program, are complaining that the program noticeably lacks the same rigor as before. What would you do as a council member to improve the rigor in public schools?
Well, it's a matter of giving the class the right resources. And also that to a certain degree, I think the teacher a lot of quality teacher may have been resigned or retired after the pandemic. And some of the teachers was being not allowed to, because of the vaccine issues, and currently is not allowed to go back to their job either. So there's a shortage of quality teachers for sure. And I think that the quality of teacher have to be improved in order to have qualifiable GNT program. And also, this brings back to the point about class size. If you're making the kids traveling to go to their classes, you're just taking times away and taking attention away from what they should be spending on schools. The more important thing is to increase a GNT program in every possible district, every possible school. Thank you.
James?
This is the problem with the city, continuously pushing for, equality, talking about being fair. All kids are not the same. So they're trying to package this educational system, one size fits all. And I think we should bring back the testings and making sure, our kids are going to be performing at different levels. So kids that, maybe brighter students should be, be in classes which, they are advancing, excelling, and with kids that needs more help, we should allocate more resources to them. And we wouldn't run into this problem with the Gift and Talented program.
Vickie?
Just repeat the question.
Sure.
So
Many parents who have a child enrolled in a GNT program are complaining that the program noticeably lacked the same rigor as before. What would you do as council member to improve the rigor in New York City public schools?
First of all, we need to have more conversation with our chancellor, our present chancellor. We need to understand, I think most of the people in this room do understand, that everybody progresses at a different level. What I will do as a city councilwoman, and what I've done thus far, is made it very, very clear how I disapprove of this lottery system. I disagree with when you homogenize once again and you give a kid with a 77 average, and they're trying as hard as they can to make that 77 average, but then you get that kid who works hard, and it's got that 92, 95, 98 average. How could you possibly justify that that child belongs in the same class as that child who's struggling to maintain a 75? We need to go back to the track system. And I agree with testing. Years back, in 3rd grade, you had a test. In 6th grade, you had a test, which pushed... There you go. I told you, you can't put me in a box.
Everybody gets the same time, right? It's fair. This thing is fair.
One thing. The teachers need to do vaccine test. The American students need to do vaccine test. Do the immigrant student, illegal immigrant student, do they do the vaccine test when they go to school?
Vaccination, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, let's move on. Okay. This is about the casinos. New York State has granted some, casino licenses. So for the past few years, the Mets owner, Stephen Cohen, lobbied for legislation to redevelop the overflowing parking lot of Citi Field into a casino and entertainment complex. This site is a short ride from city council districts that you guys are vying for. Some say this project will create hundreds of jobs, while others will say that the mega corporate owners would just suck up the community money and laugh their way to the bank with no give back. So he is again lobbying for this project to proceed. Do you support this project? Why or why not? I'm going to start with James and then Vickie and Bernard.
Currently, I attended a couple of their community sort of sessions to discuss this casino plan. Now, they don't have a clear plan about, obviously the development is good. You got these, bars that's coming up, casino coming up, and these culture centers they're going to be building. But they never address addiction, the quality of life in the neighborhood, traffic pattern that's going to change. History has shown. Look at Atlantic City, around Atlantic City. Look at what happened to the neighborhood of Foxwood. It all become all run down. So we have to address all these issues first, and then we can move forward with this plan. But as for right now, they do not have a clear plan. So I don't support it. Thank you.
Vickie?
I've had 2 private conversations with Sully. And Sully is Steve's chief. And I've seen their clear project. And it is immense. It's not realistic. And am I in favor of the casino? I most certainly am not. Casinos breed transient people come just for a short while. A population, it does bring back crime. While the thought is a good thought, if you want to think of it as, on an economic standpoint for restaurants and stuff like that. The Mets have got games that run for 3 days at a time. It's called a series. And they were thinking along those lines. But once you get into the casino business, no. Absolutely not. You have my bet that I don't think I'm going to see that happen. I think it's just a dream right now. They do have a plan, but I don't think that plan is going to come to fruition. I really don't. But if should it, I'm against it. Bernard?
Okay, I think that's one reason why history was an important class in our schools, which is our current public school system is trying to take that away, history classes. Why I say that is that if you look into history, you can look at Las Vegas history, you can look at Atlantic City's history. Their economy went down before they become a casino. They put in casino is to bring back the economy of that area. So it's Flushing in that stage right now. I think Flushing is doing pretty good. The price of real estate is going sky high. I can't even afford to buy a place there. So it's not the same scenario. So is that a right plan for Flushing? I don't think it's the right plan for Flushing. And that's what I'll stay with.
Okay, great. So the next and last question of our forum, we'll start with Bernard, and then James, and then Vickie. Last question is, what bill would be your top priority to introduce if you are elected onto the city council? Bernard?
There's actually more than one bill. I want
But say
to
one.
slide
Say
over.
one that's your top
I
one.
want to be, there's 10 of me right there. The very first one is no bail reform. The cashless bail is very important.
That's a state issue, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't, it's right next to the illegal migrant situation. It just give a revolving door for people who break the law. And then they just keep breaking the law, going in there for 24 hours or maybe less before the police who arrest them get off their duty. The guy could be come back out on the street already and could be waiting for that police right in front of the precinct. So, and you wonder why our police is not doing 100%, not as good as before. Well, why would I want to put up my house into jeopardy for doing my job? So this is a system issues, and this one will be one of the way to start cracking this problem. Thank you.
James?
Okay, the first bill that I'm going to be discussing would definitely be the traffic pattern in Flushing. You know, I have customers, I have friends that drive into the neighborhood and they would just get ticketed, right? And not just one friend, one customer, or people visiting. So we need to definitely open up the traffic pattern, change the traffic pattern in the downtown Flushing area to bring back businesses. Now all the businesses are all being squeezed out to the outer rims of downtown Flushing. You know, business not going away. And think about this. The business not making as much money as before, and the property tax are increasing. They're not reducing it. So that's the first item I will be definitely tackling once I'm in office.
Thank you. Vickie?
Well, goodness me, where would you begin? First off, I think I would have to go for crime. I would want anything we could do to bring back qualified immunity, or not have qualified immunity. That would be the first thing I would do. I want power back to our police officers. It is so important that we start to give incentives to get young men and women to join our police force. That would be probably, I must go after the crime issue. I must stick with that. Because without that, we have nothing else. So long as this keeps going the way we're going, nothing else is going to work. So police on the street, give them incentives to come back to being police officers, make it worth their while, and absolutely, most positively, give more power back to, well, our DAs and let them do their jobs. But right now, that would be my first thing, would be all about crime.
Great. Well, thank you to all three of you who've answered AWA's question. We have members of the media here. If we do not cover any of the issues that you think, as professionals covering the Asian community, I want to give you an opportunity to ask a question to our candidates. If there are none. Nope.
No questions?
Wow. Okay. All right. Then what I will do is move to allowing each candidate to have a 1-minute closing statement. I will let Bernard go first, and then Vickie, and then James, because Bernard didn't give his intro because he was late. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to AWA. Thank you for putting up this, supposedly a debate become a forum, for us to have a chance to present our platform. And my reason to be even sitting at this table is that what I wrote in the board of election, that's my introduction, is New York has deviated from common sense. Our government is not guiding our life, is not guiding their operation using common sense. Our government have lost its balance. There's now one party make all the decision without the people's input. They just do it first and then let us know later. This is not respecting the constituency that they're supposed to be representing. So we need a balanced government. And I am here, I will be one of the base stone for this balanced government. And I ask my constituency to support me. Please vote for me, Bernard Chow, City Council District 23. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard. Vickie?
I've been a city councilwoman for the last 2 years, just about. My office has closed over 2,000 constituent services. I have helped small landlords. I have helped our kids in school by funding our schools. I have stood up for my parents, you guys. I have worked with my police officers. I have closed a respite center. I have fought smoke shops. I have been there for you, boots on the ground, 150% every step of the way. I, as a city councilwoman, have brought to this district close to $18 million in funding for the entire district. My eyes, my feet, my office is outstanding. Second to none. We have the busiest city council office. We are the envy of every city council office in the city of New York. One last thing. The fact that Tony Avella, my opponent, is not here, no, this is no laughing matter. He is a coward. This needs to be taken very seriously by every single person here, that he does not respect you enough to come here and give an hour of his time because he thinks he's got this. Well, I got news for you. And Tony, this is for you. You take these people for granted the way you have taken people for granted for the last 16 years. You have produced zero for this community. And that's all I'm going to say. You, sir, are an embarrassment. And anybody else who did not show up here to come and sit with these qualified candidates should be ashamed of themselves. But Tony Avella, I will see you on November the 7th when I beat you the way you deserve to be beaten. Thank you very much.
All right, James, Ty, go ahead with your closing statement.
It's really difficult to top that. I ran 2 years ago, and the reason I'm here is 2 years have passed. Nothing have changed. The illegal street vendors still there. The streets are not clean, and the promises 2 years ago, the street pattern would improve. 2 years later, nothing have improved. So I'm asking the district to re-evaluate, reassess the current councilwoman. She's doing a lot of showboating, closed-door meetings. We don't need that. We need meetings with small businesses, the community. So on November 7th, please come out and vote for me. James Pye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I want to thank all of the candidates here with us today. We appreciate the 3 candidates who made time to participate in our forum and answer our questions. We urge the audience to get their eligible family and friends to register to vote if they're not. You have until October 28th to register. This is the general election. You can vote for anyone regardless of your party affiliation, and even if you're not registered with a party. AWA will release our endorsements before early voting begins on October 28th. We urge everyone to vote on Election Day, November 7th. And thank you all. Have a good afternoon. Sure. Yeah, I did ask the media